is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Meaning Of Podcast. I am Ace.
This is RB3.
And this is the podcast where we talk about your favorite film directors. And already you can tell we have a guest coming into the studio while I am here. It is a very lit Cade Huseby joining us today.
I don't know how I feel about you using that word lit against me right there.
Is that what your shirt says? Or?
It says art.
Art.
Yeah.
For the Oscars.
No, but this is my first time meeting Ace, y'all.
Yeah, man. Another one of RB3's fellow
USC
film school mates.
Yeah.
Coming into the studio. We had Camilo last time. We've had you on before, but I haven't been on. Yeah. There you go, man. There you go. You got it.
Okay.
So we have him based on RB3's suggestion. He's like, bro, if we're talking Oscars, we need Cade. We need him.
We need Cade.
Also, I happen
He's an
to
expert.
be free.
So
Yeah. No.
So
it's perfect because we had a big Oscar party for our fraternity, Delta Kappa Alpha.
I want to hear all about it. Man.
Yeah.
I had to put this Oscar party together, and let me tell you, putting together events is like super stressful because you know there's just so many moving parts and like you really can't do it by yourself. So after putting together the Oscar party, which is like nothing compared to the Oscars, it kind of made me look at the Oscars like, damn, you know, at least they pulled it off. You know, they might be cutting people off, but it's still a amazing production. You know?
They tried their best.
Yeah,
they definitely did their best.
I mean, yeah. So
you did a better job than the Oscars with the party. So congratulations on that.
Like 3 balloons tied up to a chair.
Was it like ordering pizza and all that too?
Yep, Domino's.
Nice. Yeah.
I've done that.
Went to Costco before.
I got the little plastic Oscar statues.
Yeah, I should have brought it.
I threw this Harry Potter event in my offices.
Okay.
And I organized the whole thing, and it was it was crazy.
That's lit.
Because I've never seen the Harry Potter movies,
Oh,
so I made it like Deathly Hallows.
Remember
I talked to you about this.
You've never seen the movies, but you
not until when I did this party.
Oh, okay.
So it was like coming up to the finale of me watching
what's
it.
your opinion? Do you like Harry Potter?
I love it, dude.
Yeah.
I adore Harry Potter now.
That's good.
But yeah, it was me like ordering pizza and then planning the games and then what's gonna be the prize for the games, like all that stuff was.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, man. It's a lot of fun. But either way, we're here to talk about the Oscars. The Oscars happened on Sunday. If you're listening to this on a Wednesday and you still care about what happened Sunday, I'm honestly shocked because most people forget what happened at the Oscars a couple weeks later. Like a lot of people were forgetting in my party who won last year's Best Picture. They're like, oh yeah, Shape of Water, huh? I completely forgot about that. And I'm like, me too. I remember Get Out.
It's because the crop of movies have been getting worse and worse every year.
You got opinions, bro.
But, hey, listen, bro. Let's just get to the shits, all right? The shits. Green Book.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Can we talk about this movie?
All right, hold on.
I've never seen
it's my
it,
show.
but I still listen, y'all. I never saw Green Book, but I still didn't want it to win. So.
Okay, so here we go, guys. So Best Picture, the winner was Green Book, despite controversy.
What controversy?
Despite backlash. Oh, there's a lot.
There's mountains of it.
Despite
okay, so
backlash.
tell me, like, what's the like?
So here's my thing. I wanted Roma to win, obviously, but Green Book had a lot behind it. Let's start with this. Obviously, what are your thoughts on Green Book winning the Oscar? I mean, a lot of Twitter blew up, obviously.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts, RB3? Especially you. What are your thoughts? Being an expert, having seen the movie 3 times.
Here.
Wait, I thought you never saw it.
No, here. I'll get to that first. But first, let me address the elephant in the room first. All right.
The elefante in the room.
Let me address. Listen, I don't want to go. Everybody's on Twitter already made the jokes. It's driving Miss Daisy all over again. It's everything. And we've talked about it multiple times on this podcast before why I think Green Book shouldn't win Best Picture. And like I've said plenty of times before, is not Best Picture. Awarding Best Picture doesn't necessarily amount to the quality of the film. It's supposed to represent what Hollywood is upholding within a certain year. That's why we see movies like Saving Private Ryan almost win Best Picture because in that year there was like 4 other World War II movies. You know, that's why we see a bunch of other. That's why we see time and time again the Oscars awarding certain movies what they reward them. You know, and we finally get a year where we get like some great. You know, we get Black Klansman. Black Panther, motherfucking Beale Street wasn't nominated. But that's up there. Widows, everything. We could have went with anything else. Now, I'm saying all that to say, like, I said all that before even seeing Green Book in and of itself, right? Ask me that I seen Green Book again. Ask me that I seen Green Book.
Robert, did you see Green Book?
Yeah, I saw 30 minutes of that shit. Ask me what I thought of it.
30 minutes?
I saw first 30 minutes of that shit.
What'd you think of it?
Dog shit. That's what I thought it was. Fucking dog shit. I'm sorry, I know you love that movie, but
30 minutes.
The first 30 minutes of it.
Tell
Yes.
us, give us your top three.
How can I finish a movie like that? How can we get to? How can
at least give it an hour?
I can't.
Robert,
we can't keep tolerating these movies anymore.
Guys. Robert, are you one to often walk out of movies?
No, I'm a very frequent sleeper in movies. So that's the usual. But I didn't. So I rented this movie on Amazon because that's where it was available or whatever. I'm
gonna use your account to watch it again.
So you didn't see it in theaters?
No, I didn't see it in theaters. No.
Okay, so give us your top 3 reasons why it was dog shit.
Listen, it's only one. It's really only one reason. We don't want.
So you got to the part where he sees the black handyman come into his house.
Yeah. Bro,
and drink water from the glasses. And he tosses the glasses.
It's everything.
This movie sounds
bro.
wild.
It's everything that's wrong with like these fucking movies made in the 1960s that they're trying to make now. Like what are we having? We're done with this era of cinema.
So the general consensus is that the reason why Green Book shouldn't have one is because it's very problematic in the way they place the white perspective, the white POV, instead of making it about Mahershala Ali's character.
It's not just offensive, but it's tired. It's tired. We've seen this movie a bajillion times. Like,
that's
we've seen The Help.
Word, bro. It's tired.
We've seen The Help. We've seen. Like I said, we've seen Drive Miss Daisy. We've seen 48 Hours. We've seen these movies a million times. Like, and at this point in 2019, when we have 80 other movies that are way more interesting that actually do have a black perspective. And listen, a lot of people are attacking the movie because they're like, oh, it's directed by a white person. I don't give a fuck if it's directed by a white person. I will say, like, my favorite movie so far this year has been that movie High Flying Bird. That's on Netflix. Steven Soderbergh directed it.
No one saw it because it's on Netflix.
No, it's gonna get seen. Well, it's also shot on the iPhone.
It?
It is. All right, that's another discussion for another day.
No one saw that movie.
But it's a great
film.
One saw it. You should see it.
I know you should. I agree. You should see it. I'm a massive basketball fan. And
my man Bill Duke is in it. Bill Duke, my mentor, Bill Duke. He taught me everything I know.
That's a perfect example of a great movie on Netflix that no one's seen. But
it's shot on an iPhone, so it's a little. If you watch it, you should watch it on the iPhone because that's how it's filmed, and that's a good way to look at it. But that movie is very pro-black, but it's also directed by a white dude. So like, I have no issues with it because it has something positive to say. I don't want to fucking. And it's it's especially frustrating.
What
the Oscars pander so much to this whole like, oh, we don't like Trump. Oh, we don't like Trump. Oh my God! Every acceptance speech, every moment they get to,
literally no one mentioned Trump besides Spike Lee.
Oh, besides Spike Lee, that's true, but not this year. And I actually do appreciate that. Yeah,
but it is like a running thing throughout
the award seasons.
Like
yeah,
sure. But I feel like
PGAs are gonna handle.
I agree with
award.
you last year with Meryl Streep and all that, and they were like Trump. But this year, I feel like no one even mentioned.
Well, and I think they learned.
Instead of mentioning Trump, they really should just give me a shout out.
John Apatow gave you a shout out for.
That's right.
Well, he commented on our meeting of episode where I photoshopped myself over Ace in the thumbnail. So
did you tag Ace?
I think so. Oh,
that's funny. But yeah, no, it's
he's like, nah, you didn't.
But it's shit like that. So I really just feel like we have so little momentum in terms of progression in the academy. They keep saying, oh, we're going to make these changes, and they want to.
But there's still a ton of that gets to my further point. There's still a ton of old white people.
Yeah.
In the academy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. It's like 93% old white people. Old white guys.
That kind of brings me to another point that people have been talking about. Why did Green Book win Best Picture? I'll throw that question to you, Cade. Is it simply based on the demo? Is it because people liked it? Is it what's the general consensus on why it won? Is it preferential voting? Is that outdated?
Listen, taking the things that Robert has said into account and my general disinterest in the film itself, I would say that maybe there were some people in the Academy who took this power and just overthought it And instead of going with what maybe they enjoyed the most, they might have just been like, what should I do? You know, what's
a good middle ground?
What can I say that I voted for, and what's that gonna say about me as an Academy member?
It's crash all over
again. They're all
again.
just trying to fucking like get that reputation and that fucking
that fake liberalism,
appeasing the public or whatever. But that's just like my initial thoughts on it. I'm sure there's a lot more that goes into it. Like I was thinking like I'd love to see if they would ever do like a runner-up announcement, like even on just Twitter or something, so we could see.
Yeah, I don't think they're ever gonna do that.
Well, okay, yeah they're not going to, but it would be sick if like we could just see like what was the second place one, you know? Because I think like sometimes it's super close and you never know. I feel like the Academy is becoming less and less secretive in their ways. Like, you know, they used to really not, like, just recently they introduced, we were talking about it earlier, like, they introduced, like, their biggest incoming class to the Academy. Because,
like one third of the population. Or
yeah,
whatever.
and it was like all women and minorities, because, like, those statistics weren't out, and then when they were out, when the LA Times broke that news that it was literally 98% white, 93% white male, they were like, oh, shit. That looks terrible for us. So, you know, they just brought in a whole bunch of people, an unprecedented amount of people.
But obviously, like, it translated for a lot of the categories, I feel like. But then I feel like for Best Picture in particular, like, you had the opportunity to make the right move on pretty much every other movie besides Green Book.
I totally agree. Like, any of the other movies, if they won, I would have been like, okay, this means as much to me as it did when... what's it called? Shape of Water won.
Yeah, it's just my thing is like, yeah, if you're gonna tote this whole like, and again, like maybe it's a misguided thing for the Oscars because surprisingly most Oscar people didn't mention it besides Spike Lee. But I'm glad Spike Lee mentioned Trump, you know, because he has an actual perspective on it. But
yeah, Spike Lee's speech was great.
Yeah, but most of the time is garbage, you know, but. For all that kowtowing they do throughout the entire war season, you could have easily given it something like Roma, which is a movie that is about Mexico, is about livelihood and promoting goodness and you know and life and humanity and humanism. Black Klansman is a pro-black movie about black cops. Black Panther won't even need to speak on that. Every other like literally almost Vice, even Vice to a certain extent is an anti-Trump movie.
Bohemian Rhapsody would have been, I think, worse than Green Book.
Bohemian Rhapsody shouldn't even be there. Yeah, but
it's obvious. You can see like where they went with the popular movie category. They like smushed it together with Best Picture.
Well, they got Black Panther. I think if it was a popular movie, it probably would have been Black Panther nominated, Bohemian Rhapsody nominated.
Here's my question to you. Okay, it's preferential voting.
Yeah.
Do you think that has anything to do with it?
I mean, they say that.
For the listeners who don't know, not that I don't know, but like, what is preferential voting?
Okay, so basically, it's the Academy's new way of voting, where you rank your choices by like you rank all your choices for Best Picture. So you say number one is like if I were to fill mine out, I'll put number one Black Klansman, number two Black Panther, number three Roma, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So basically, what happens is they count all of the votes. And then they determine like whatever has enough number one votes. I
think I saw a Vox video on this.
Yeah, Vox did a great video on it. Collider did a great video on it.
I just remember thinking this makes absolutely no sense. Like,
yeah,
well, it's really
odd.
It's a lot for the number of nominees. I mean, if it was like 5 nominees, it'd be a little more manageable. But for like 8, it's kind of a lot. If it was, I feel like the actual U.S. election should use preferential voting. That's where that would come in handy a lot. Because it's less political parties. But nominee, what's so funny about that? No, I mean that's just how it'll be a lot. Yeah. It'll be a lot more fair system. You won't see like fucking Trump winning like every election.
So you don't think that has anything to do with it?
It does have, I guess.
It's the only category that does it. Best Picture. Every other category does not.
Well, see, and also I guess we should have looked at the Producers Guild Awards. Because they handed Green Book Best Picture, and they also had preferential voting.
A lot of people picked it, man. It was definitely up there. So I'll follow up with Netflix. Does this have anything to do with an?
Of course, it's anti-Netflix. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, for sure.
Netflix spent $20 million.
Yeah.
Can you believe a company spent $20 million?
It kind of worked.
Well, 1/4. I mean, hey, listen,
it kind of worked.
It worked as much as the Wright brothers' first plane. Okay, it went up in the air for a little bit, and then it just came right back down.
Listen, the fact that Netflix has to spend $20 million on a movie and still can't win Best Picture, when are we going to grow up?
That could be, like you said, it could be a statement.
Yeah, straight up.
It could be a statement from these older white voters in the academy.
They've already grown up, bro.
Take Netflix out of my place, out of my voting.
Yeah.
I'm voting for
Netflix
Green Book.
is the devil.
You're kidding movie theaters.
Look at the logo. It's red and has spikes on it. It's the devil.
But sure, back in the 1920s, we used to go to the cinema and watch Singing in the Rain and on 35 millimeters.
So you think it does have something to do with Netflix?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah, I do too.
It's Netflix. If it was, well, also it's the fact that it's foreign too, bro. There's never. I don't think. If I'm not mistaken, there's never been a foreign language movie that wins Best Picture.
He did get Best Director, so.
But they do that every year, and I'm sick of that too, man. I'm sick of them. I mean, that's just their way of being like, here's a consolation prize for us not giving you Best Picture.
Yeah.
And then meanwhile, and in the process of them doing that, they end up giving, shortchanging the movies that actually win Best Picture and actually have some great direction. Like, I think back to Moonlight. They did the same thing they gave La La Land Best Director and then Moonlight Best Picture. But Barry Jenkins deserves that recognition. He directed the fucking movie. You know what I mean? Same thing with 12 Years a Slave and Gravity came out.
But there are some years where the director is the same as the Best Picture, no?
That hasn't happened a lot. Like, not recently.
Yeah.
Not recently. It hasn't. The last time it happened was last year.
I was going to say,
Shape of Water.
Didn't Del Toro win?
But every other year besides Birdman and Shape of Water, since they expanded the category, has been different directors at picture.
Sure.
So it's just like, yo, what do we? Can we just establish a system that works? Can we just get some
it's an
fucking
award
black
show.
people?
Award shows are never going to work, bro.
It's a damn shame, man.
What I will say is that this year I'm glad that it felt more equal. You know, like everyone hated Green Book equally. So in that way, it kind of brought us together.
Except for Trump
all
Radio,
the Academy voters
and the Academy voters too.
See, I disagree
also,
with that.
I never saw Green Book, so just
I
remind
don't
you guys.
Trump voters liked Green.
Are you kidding me?
Really,
dude? I've been seeing Republican radio shows. I saw one dude. Oh my god!
No, these Trump
Green Book is
voters
the
are
best
like,
movie
oh my
I've
God.
ever seen.
It's the illusion they're living, bro. Just from the
Like
trailer I've seen, it's like they're like. I'm sure they're like. This is.
See, but I hesitate to say that Green Book is a far right movie.
It's not a far right movie, but it's right leaning though.
It just appeals to that sense.
Yeah, right leaning.
Why do we have to keep teaching white people how to not be racist?
Yeah, exactly.
To me, like, not being racist is not right leaning. I think being racist is very right right now.
Well, dude. Well, for one, the whole idea of like
it's
race
like
fitting into a political.
Who's identifying with that protagonist? Like,
a lot of older voters.
Well, that's what I'm saying. A lot of Trump
like,
voters
that could be
are
me.
older
I could
age.
have a black friend.
Yeah.
I remember in the 70s I had a black friend. He taught me how to play basketball with my short shorts on and my Sally Whacker on my head.
Hey, mister, do you want to learn something about basketball?
Now slow down there. I can't really.
You're going way. It's like, okay.
That's how it is. That's Green Book.
That's Green Book.
We just shot Green Book right here.
We got 3 cameras set up.
That's what it. So that's where I feel.
So
like.
you're saying, okay, to make things clear, you're saying that it's not necessarily the Green Book is a bad movie. Period.
It's not.
It's more.
Honestly,
outdated.
The dog shit. That was a little extreme.
Well,
it really
wasn't
wasn't that
in
bad.
the first 5 minutes of the podcast.
If this came out in like 1969 and it won Best Picture, you would be like, all right, that makes sense.
Yeah,
you would forgive it.
Yeah,
because it makes more. It fits more into that era. Whereas now you're saying there's so many black creators, so many black directors, producers, writers, all these people who are making better black content than someone like a Peter Farrelly. You're saying that's
Peter Farley, by the way. Are we going to talk about the screenwriter behind
The way you just said his
Oh,
name.
okay, like do you see yeah, no, Peter Farley, are you fucking kidding me? Do you see something about Mary? Did you see something about Mary? That movie opens on a racist job.
Don't ask me to defend anything. I won't. I'm not the right guy to defend. I like Green Book, but I haven't liked any other of his movies.
What other shit has he directed?
He's done.
He did Dumb and Dumber. I like Dumb and Dumber.
I don't like Dumb and Dumber.
Not a huge fan of Dumb and Dumber.
I don't like Dumb and Dumber. I like
It's
Dumb and
my
Dumber.
least favorite Jim Carrey work.
Yeah, it's so overrated.
I probably agree. It's my least favorite.
Least favorite Jim Carrey work.
You see Liar Liar?
Oh yeah,
I love Liar Liar.
Did he
Liar
do
Liar
that?
is great. No, he didn't do Liar
Okay,
Liar.
good. Good.
But it's Jim Carrey. That's
I know.
But he did something about Mary and then movie 40. He did movie 43.
That was
that's pretty bad. Yeah. to clarify,
That's still better than Green Book.
that's what you're trying to say, though, right?
Yeah, it's less about the movie itself. The movie itself is honestly fine.
Okay.
It's like okay at the very
You mean
maximum.
the first 30 minutes?
Yeah,
you
first
said
30
it.
minutes is like bare minimum okay, but it's what it represents and what
Okay.
and you know what and I honestly shouldn't be surprised because the Oscars always pick the movie that they want to represent Hollywood as opposed to what actually represents Hollywood. We see back in I think back to again like back to the 1960s when movies like Oliver or like all these old Hollywood musicals were like winning Best Picture when they were actually the lowest grossing genre of that time because in the 60s musicals were fading out and like realistic dramas were like starting to become the thing, but they kept awarding musicals Best Picture because they wanted people to be like, hey, we still like musicals, right? Like that's just how they move. And what Green Book winning Best Picture tells me is that they want to keep it the exact same that it was back in 1989 when Do the Right Thing wasn't even nominated. And they gave Drive Miss Daisy Best Picture. The Academy hasn't changed in 30 years.
Dude, preach.
That's what's happening.
Yeah, speaking of change, Ace, I got a question for you.
Okay.
I discussed this a little bit with RB3 before, but what are your thoughts on the Oscars being genderless?
Being genderless?
Like acting categories genderless.
Because, like, I was thinking, like, male and female, like, that's kind of exclusive. Like, somebody brought that to my attention. I was like, that's actually a great point.
So
like,
just best actor
overall
and make it 10 nominees?
10 or something. I don't know. But RB3 was saying, like, some of the concerns was as, like, more than half would probably be male nominees.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Because if most of the Academy
Look at Best Director.
Oh, white men. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly why I said in the card. There's only been 4 women nominated in like literally every other category.
But why isn't there a best male director, best female director?
Because only like 4% of movies are directed by women.
But that's still 4%, like, and it will keep growing, you know?
It's an interesting point, right? The shout out to Scott Mans, the LA Online Film Critics. They do film female director and male director.
Yeah,
and they got a little bit of pushback for that. They got a little bit of criticism for it.
Wow.
They're like, why are you dividing it in female?
It's such a double-sided blade.
It is kind of odd.
You know what?
Actually, what you just said is the reason why.
Actually, I think maybe promoting like I honestly been thinking about this a lot, not with Oscars but with Grammys, right? Like the Grammys, they have their rap album category, but they used to have female rap artists as well. They used to have a female subset of because they used to, for pop music.
Exactly. It's not so hard to just get rid of male and female and combine them.
But no, I'm saying like I was thinking maybe the Grammy should bring back female rap because now there's way more female rap as like a prevalent thing. And
it's a double,
I don't know.
It's
maybe,
a double-edged sword because in one hand you're promoting more female artists or female, directors, whatever it is, and on the other hand you're making it seem like they need to be separated somehow. That they're somehow less.
That's what I was
than
trying
the
to bring
male
up.
Rappers or the male directors or whatever it is. It's a double-edged sword,
what
right?
What about actors?
Exactly the same. But your point is so true. Even back in the ancient times of movies, 30s and 40s, there was still a ton of female actresses. You see what I'm saying? Like it's still
right.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's more of a 50%
It's a classic thing as far as actors, people in front of the camera. So I don't see that working. And that's just my opinion.
But yeah, I mean, it's just like, what if there was a actor who was nominated and they identify as non-binary, right? And they're put in. What category are they put?
That's going to be it.
That's
going to happen.
And that's going to happen. It's not if, it's when. So it's just going to be interesting to see how they progress with that. And I think that's going to probably be one of the next like political politically charged topics about the Oscars.
Yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, I definitely agree that female directors should be given more. I mean, should get a lot of attention. They make great movies as well.
Yeah,
so.
Leave No Trace.
Yeah.
Also, the other movie I put in my top 10, You Were Never Really There, directed by Lynn Ramsey. But yeah, in terms of gender, yeah, I mean, yeah, I gotta think on that genderless thing, man. Because
I think that's too tricky.
Well, no, I agree. I agree. Like with the principle of it, I just don't know if the Academy is necessarily. I think if the Academy starts demonstrating that they are willing to go 50-50 on categories that are not acting, like they're willing to have 2 or 3 female directors being nominated for, you know, best director. If they're to show that they have, like last night, I'm talking about. Fucking, I'm sorry I said the F word a lot today. I'm sorry for new listeners. I'm saying that a lot.
Yeah.
It's frustrating Oscars.
Just but you think screenshots.
But you think about something like Black Panther and winning production design and costume design. Both for the first time a black woman has won that award. Yeah. And both for the first time a black person's won in general. Yeah. So just the fact that there's already a fight for representation. So like removing a whole category of it, how would that feel? You know, I don't know.
Yeah. Let's move on. Otherwise, we're going to be here forever.
Yeah, we've spent 30 minutes on Best Picture.
I kind of want to have a general...
That's as much time as you spent on the Best Picture.
Yeah, hey.
Let's have a general conversation on our thoughts on the overall show, because at the end of the day, this is a television show, which I find to be kind of funny.
Yeah.
Obviously, we didn't have a host. Overall thoughts on the show. Cade, what did you think of this Oscars compared to other Oscars in the past?
Well, I thought having no host was totally fine. I was hoping, though, if I put out enough good tweets that they let me host it, but that never came to fruition.
Did they hit you up?
Well, no. The tweet didn't even get any favorites.
Oh, man.
But I really enjoyed, like, the flow of it.
Yeah.
I honestly wish they would have spent even less time on like the little bits in between. Some standout stuff from the show for me was the opening with Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, and Maya Rudolph.
Yeah.
I thought that was just like so funny.
Yeah.
And
they kind of killed they did the thing in 8 Mile where Bernie Rabbit kind of tells you all the shit that's wrong with him before the rap, so you can't like make fun of him for it.
Exactly.
You know?
And then I liked when Keegan came down on the umbrella.
And the umbrella, Mary Poppins.
Yeah, I mean that was just funny to watch. And I thought the Melissa McCarthy cat outfit was like really funny.
It was bunnies,
because even though that was like comedy, it's like they were still showing how important costumes really are. Because hey, we're looking at them right now, and like look, they're just goofy.
It took me a real minute to realize that they incorporated every costume from every movie that was nominated. Because if you notice, Brian Tyler Henry had the Black Panther stuff around his eyes, and then he had the Killmonger haircut, and then she wore a cowboy hat.
I did not notice that.
Yeah,
That's
she wore a cowboy hat for Buster Scruggs, and then the bunny's obviously the favorite, and then the dresses were Mary Queen of Scots.
Interesting.
But yeah,
so that's funny.
Overall, I thought it was a really good Queen tribute show.
Yeah, that was.
That's where it goes down.
I mean, let's move on to, should we have another? Yeah, seriously, it's too much. Should we have a host going forward? Should we always do no host now?
Yes.
Yeah,
really?
Kill all this fucking bullshit.
Yeah,
what if I said
fuss up the show?
Tina Fey and Amy Poehler are hosting next year.
Would you
be like, no,
but
make it no host?
No, just do the flow. It went perfectly fine. And they made this whole big thing about, we got to make sure we keep it under 3 hours. They went over anyway.
Yeah,
Imagine if they had a host. Imagine if they had a host.
We had to pay more money for our rented Oscar party location because they went over.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why do they keep like if I personally this is like no slight to any of the recent hosts. I love Chris Rock. I love Ellen DeGeneres, but it's been so boring every year watching them do those cringy jokes where they like walk into the movie theater and start throwing hot dogs at people. Like, enough. I want to see that.
Dude,
like,
way enough. Honestly, I couldn't agree more just hearing you talk about it. Like, because when there's a host, it's like, this is the Ellen show, you know? With the Oscar awards in between. It's like, it's so, I feel like having no host and just having everyone sort of bring their own thing to it is like just kind of emphasizes more of the collaborative spirit of filmmaking.
Yeah,
overall.
and I think moreover, you get more time to highlight the movies. I think the presentations were really good. I honestly like. To me too, cut back on the song bullshit, man. Like,
Would you cut the songs all together?
No, not all together. I mean, that probably the biggest highlight of the night was the Shallow performance. Lady Gaga. No, I'm not kidding, man.
That was definitely one of the best.
That's because
parts.
everyone loves that.
That was one of the best performances I think the Oscars have seen in a hot second.
Yeah, I mean, bro.
So you don't cut the songs then?
No, don't cut the songs, but kind of.
Well, I don't know. It's not the fucking MTV movie music video award.
That's what I'm saying. You wouldn't have a moment like last night.
Do the best original songs, but don't do the fucking Queen. We Will Rock You shit.
Yeah,
at the
exactly.
Like,
so Adam Lambert was great as Rami Malek as
as Freddie Mercury.
And I'm glad Adam Lambert got Best Actor for that.
He's got Best Actor.
So
Rami got.
So how would you open a show?
Just started with the awards. Yeah,
my idea is you screen the Best Picture before the show. So every year they screen the Best Picture right before the show, so that everyone knows whether to agree or disagree with the final decision.
Oh, just do like the supercut of like all the things.
So also that will immediately let everyone know who wins as soon as the movie starts playing.
Also, I love the opening montage. How much is that's funny. That's funny. I love the opening montage. How they used like all like Avengers clips, Deadpool clips.
I literally I turned to my friend and I'm like, look at all these movies they didn't nominate.
Yeah.
So let's move on to some of the major winners of the show. Yeah, I love that theme.
Avengers didn't win though. Went to first man for visual effects.
Oh, that pissed me off.
Hey, man, actually...
Yeah, me too.
Pissed me off.
Hey,
you literally make Thanos a character in a movie, literally carrying the whole movie, and you can't...
Oh, no,
God,
did you...
Dude.
Wait,
really?
okay.
Come on.
Now listen.
Like, they faked the moon landing once. What's the big deal? They did it again.
They did it
again.
Now,
I will say, though, I watched the behind-the-scenes video of a lot of visual effects behind.
It's great, but it's not
an
Infinity War level.
I didn't buy into Infinity War, man. Like, but see, I always have to come on here and overcompensate and be like, yeah, I think the visual effects for Infinity War should win, just so I can just so y'all don't keep shitting on me for thinking I don't like it when I actually do like this movie.
Yeah.
But no, I think First Man did a fantastic job.
Let's go to the major winners. Best director, best actress, best actor.
Alfonso
Cuarón. Olivia Colman and Rami Malek. Rami Malek was no surprise. What do you think of Colman winning over Glenn Close?
Listen, honestly, I didn't
really care.
Yeah, I shitted on The Favorite a lot, just because I didn't stay awake through that entire movie. But I think honestly seeing Olivia Colman in real life, like outside of her, character in the movie, I thought she was just a normal, like, stuffy British actress. So I thought, oh, she's just playing a slightly deranged, British character.
Sure.
But then, like, actually seeing her personality, like, when she won the award, I'm like, oh, that's actually a big, that's a bigger departure than I anticipated,
Oh, you didn't see her in the Golden Globes?
No.
Yeah, I had seen her there, so I wasn't as surprised as Robert.
She's wild. Yeah.
I did have that same reaction when I saw her at the Golden Globes.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So, like, for me, it's like, oh, okay, I could see, like, how that's a dope performance for somebody who's, like, really not like that in real life. But I just watched so much Sherlock that I'm like, oh, she's doing the same thing everybody does on Sherlock, but just a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, let's move on to. As much as I did not care for Bohemian Rhapsody and did not care for
Remy deserved it.
I like Rami Malek and I like his speech. I liked his speech a lot. It might be my favorite speech.
Can I ask you guys a theoretical question? Like, somebody said to me that, what's the guy from Green Book?
Mahershala?
Yeah, they were saying Mahershala won the best acting as a nod to what he's doing on True Detective, and I wonder if Raimi won for somewhat of the same reason for what he's doing on Mr. Robot.
I don't think enough people watch Mr.
No, I think people watch him.
Like, how
still
much
watching?
So I guess
it
my
hasn't
question,
been on in a minute.
I guess my question is, how much do you think other roles play into the voters' decisions?
A lot.
That's what Olivia Colman. Who saw The Wife? No one saw The Wife.
Well, I mean, like, outside of, like, the movies they win for.
Oh yeah,
too.
still.
Like I think
100.
the biggest example I think of is when Eddie Murphy was nominated in 06 or 07 for Dreamgirls, and and a lot of people considered him the front runner to win Best Supporting Actor for Dreamgirls. But then he had that same January he had Norbit come out, and all through Hollywood Boulevard.
I love Norbit. Oh my god, it's
hey,
one of my favorites.
Norbit's a classic, but you see a picture of Eddie Murphy in a fat suit all around Hollywood Boulevard. That's gonna turn Oscar voters off for voting for him. So that's really that plays a lot into it too.
Yeah, it's just so weird, you know.
I mean, to be honest though, as the only person who saw Green Book, because I don't think if you saw 30 minutes, you don't even see Mahershala Ali.
I saw you nodding or shaking your head like that's not why.
Oh no, I think Mahershala Ali 100% deserved that Oscar. I think he's incredible in Green Book. He's by far the best one.
No, I mean, honestly, if there's one person I want to win from Green Book, it's Mahershala.
He's incredible.
Because he's
so
black.
good. He's so good.
And he's just playing the same fucking slave role that like everybody else has to play in Hollywood.
No, he's not. He's a weird. He's a different dude, and I'm telling you, man, he's his range.
Oh, he's
so
different
good.
than a real life person too, because he had to apologize to the family. Did you see that? He had to apologize to the family.
He did.
For being.
What?
Yeah,
apologize to who?
To the family of the character that this is based on.
But then again, man, he's an actor reading a script. Like, how much?
And I'm not putting that on him.
Wait,
I'm putting that on the movie.
What did he do that he had to apologize for?
No, he didn't do. It was
the script that wasn't. It didn't reflect.
The
what's
family.
His name? What's his name again?
I don't know.
Don Shirley.
Donald Shirley. Yeah.
It didn't reflect what actually happened. So he had to apologize. But that's the script.
I heard the same thing about Bohemian Rhapsody. That it didn't reflect much truth about Freddie Mercury's life either.
Yeah, but that's like a whole different level.
I mean, it was a really good 2-hour trailer.
Was not even a good movie.
Yeah, that's best film editing right there, baby.
Oh my god,
best 2-hour trailer.
Now that you jumped in, let's just talk about it. Because I'm just kind of jumping around.
Right.
How did this movie? I literally told you that the fact that it was nominated for film editing, I thought was like.
Hey, I told you, I did, bro. Didn't I say on the predictions episode? I predicted it.
Oh yeah, you did predict it, huh?
I didn't predict. I didn't say. I said the favorite was gonna win.
No, I know.
I said
but you
the
said
editing.
it could win,
I said the editing association.
That's right. You did tell me that.
Gave it best editing. So of course the Oscars might give it to it.
My God, that's probably the worst Oscar win ever. Probably. In the history of Oscars.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, Crash
won.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
But at least it's a movie.
But yeah,
Bohemian Rhapsody's barely a movie.
Yeah, true.
It's a playlist. It's a playlist.
Well,
it's like next song. Like, what is this?
Well,
it's awful.
Like I told you last week, and I think I told you this, 2K. Like, the movie won. Like when the director gets fired, from the movie before they're done filming, it's basically the editor's job to make the movie
and you
work,
could tell. I literally said out loud in the theater, I could tell there's no director because it's awful.
Wait, there was no director?
No.
Yeah, did you not hear about this?
Brian Singer.
What did he touch a little boy or something?
Oh, he did more than that.
Yeah, a lot of little
Brian
boys.
Singer is a human trafficker.
Yeah.
He has a human trafficking ring.
Yeah.
Read that Atlantic article. He's
a big name, right?
Oh no, dude. Yeah. Brian Singer has been like high level. Like I'm telling you, like high level of human trafficking, pedophilia,
dude,
sexual
fuck
predator.
That guy.
Like
what a monster!
Literally, he's the. If you read that article, the way it goes into detail, it's the most.
And so they found that out halfway through shooting Bohemian.
Well, no, I mean he had allegations for a long time.
He did, and that's why it gets me so upset.
So why the fuck would they hire the guy?
That's what gets me so upset.
His movies keep making money, man. Bohemian Rhapsody almost made $1 billion.
Yeah, man.
Should they hired him on?
But that's as much as his human trafficking ring's probably making.
Say what you were gonna say. I think you're gonna say what I was gonna say.
Monster.
Literally after this article came out, Cade, that he got hired to do a movie for $10 million. Like after this article,
no. When the article came out, they literally turned. The fact that after the article came out, and then they say so after the article came out,
I just left the room.
Hey.
So after the article came out from the Atlantic, they interviewed the producer for one of the movies he was working on, and they asked him, "Hey, have you read this article? are you going to keep Bryan Singer after they literally exposed him for being a human trafficker? And he's like, have you seen Bohemian Rhapsody, how much money it's made? Of course we're going to keep Bryan Singer. Look at all the Oscar nominations. They don't care. All they care about is money and this awards. That's why I was so upset that it got nominated.
People like that shouldn't be in this industry. They should just be like in jail.
I'm telling you, man, I told you, like, this guy is like, should be all over the news. Like the level, like he's like
the fact that he $40 million off of Bohemian Rhapsody.
He created a fake production company so he could hire little boys to pretend to be actors, and he would just drug him up and like rape the shit out of them, and it was just the most awful stuff I've ever heard. And I want to stop because I can go on forever.
Wow, I am so
it's awful, dude.
Shocked.
That's why he took his name off of USC. They took his name off of USC.
I'm begging people to read that article because it tells you the witnesses.
Just from what I've heard, please.
It's incredible.
Please, I'm begging you to read that article as well.
What I heard.
So, original score is something that you and I had a little conversation about.
Yeah.
Because Ludwig won.
Yeah.
And I adore Ludwig.
I love Ludwig.
I love the guy. And I really do.
He's one of the most talented musicians of our generation.
He's incredible. Childish Gambino,
Kendrick Lamar,
Creed, all the Creed scores, everything he's done. Is
USC alum.
USC alum. There you go.
But you think if Beale Street clearly had the best score, and I agree, I think it clearly had the best score. How hung up are you?
I don't want to.
Are you upset about it? Or are you?
No, honestly, I'm not like the most upset about it. They both did something really innovative. They both modernized a genre that, like, Black Panther modernized African music with hip hop. You know, it makes those two together. Beale Street kind of put a modernized interpretation on jazz music a little bit. I think the music is a little more beautiful in Beale Street. I also didn't even realize until watching the awards last night that First Man wasn't even nominated. That's a little crazy too. But you don't think First Man had a great score? You don't think First Man had a great score?
It was a good score. It was a good score, but it wasn't like it's like, oh my God, how can they not?
If First Man was nominated, I'd put the second behind Beale Street.
First Man's score for me just felt like if you put La La Land's score in a microwave. Like that's just kind of what it felt like.
Left in the vacuum of space. But yeah, no, it's really not. It's not like a gripe. Like I don't feel angry that Beale Street lost. Even though I do think that Beale Street is the best movie of the year and has been overshone in everything else.
You know what this kind of opens up a conversation about, and you know what it kind of opens up a good thing that comes out of this is for me, and I mean obviously I've talked about it for years now.
Right.
Is the concept of hip hop in the movie industry.
Yeah.
And how hip hop, the fact that he uses 808s and beats and like that to me is something that you literally hear it around this office because I've heard it. People talking about, oh my God, how can they put rap beats over a score and call it a score? Like people still have that outdated.
Get over yourself.
People, I'm telling you, man, I've worked behind the scenes in the industry. People do not like hip hop, do not like rap.
Yeah. And I don't like them then.
It stems. No, it really does. I have this feeling, and it might just be me, but I really do feel like it stems from like this stigma against hip hop taking over and hip hop having an influence.
It been took over, bro. It's the biggest genre in the world.
But the fact that it's the biggest genre in the world and we rarely ever hear it in scores, one of the only people to ever put it in scores is Ludwig Göransson.
Yeah.
So for me, like the fact that I said it on my tweet, I said it's not just a win for like Black Panther, which is great. It's a win for hip hop culture that is never been in movies.
For sure.
It's not. No matter.
That's
like
a great point.
Look at the.
It's been in movies, but
straight out of Compton.
Let me try these headphones.
Well, straight out of Compton. But other than that,
well, I mean, the '90s was more of a stylistic influence of hip hop. Like Tarantino and Darren Aronofsky are both people who are inspired by the idea of hip hop, particularly Tarantino. But yeah, but in terms of like the music in terms of the music itself, in terms of score, that's more of a recent thing.
Yeah.
But soundtracks, I even think soundtracks have a little bit of influence on hip hop has had a little bit, since Boys in the Hood at least.
Sure.
But yeah, the score. This is the first score that they it won the Grammy for the score for the score category as well. But it's funny that the three Black movies in this category, Beale Street, BlacKkKlansman, Black Panther, all take very different approaches.
That's right.
Where Black Panther is very African, but also very hip hop, American hip hop. BlacKkKlansman is very old school Americana, like epic score, like very I forgot the composer's name, who does a lot of those classics.
Ludwig Göransson?
No. Whatever, I'm losing it, but
for BlacKkKlansman, you mean?
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about the composer himself, but he's taken a lot from like the old school, like old American themes, which is like directly, Spike Lee used a lot of those for all of his movies as well. Sure. And in Beale Street, like I said, jazz music. So it's all a congruence of like 3 different perspectives on music, which I think is great.
Yeah, and like I can't speak for any of the other nominees except BlacKkKlansman, but I think Black Panther's level of authenticity in the score is something that just like really put it, above all the other ones. Yeah. I think like I can't really say this because I haven't seen the other movies, but Black Panther's score, I feel like it told you as much of the story like as any other aspect of the movie. Mm-hmm. And I think that it was deserved to win. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Let's finish up because I don't want to go too long.
Isle of Dogs is dope though.
Yeah, I know. Let's finish up with our favorite moment of the night. I'll start with you, Cade. What's your favorite moment of the night?
No, I want to go last.
Okay, fine.
I have to think.
RB3, what's your favorite moment of the night?
I had a lot of like little moments that I thought were funny. I love when they present Best Documentary and Jason Momoa was on stage and he's like free solo and he like yelled and shit. Yeah. I also love that's like I love most of the speeches, but that speech I was like, okay, like. She started getting played off before she fully thanked Alex. I'm like, yo, Alex literally like risked his life for this movie. Like he should have been the first person you think. Are you kidding me? Like,
absolutely.
This is like, oh my god, he could have died. He would have got that on camera.
There was a lot of those moments.
But
like forgetting to thank people that are right next to you, and you're like, oh my god, this guy. Like Spike Lee had that.
Like, why do you show up to an award show you're nominated for and don't have anything prepared to say? That's like you're setting yourself up for failure.
But if you had to narrow it down, what's your number one?
Number one, I'd probably say Spike Lee winning. Yeah. Spike Lee winning. That was a historic moment.
With Samuel Jackson.
Yeah,
saying
the hugging. Yeah,
God.
It's like they positioned it perfectly. With him there. I think It's history in the making. This is Spike Lee's first Oscar.
That's great.
And over 35+ year career.
I love that Samuel L. Jackson told him that the Knicks won. I love that.
Yeah.
And apparently ESPN captured his lips. Where he's like, yo, we finally won after 18. And apparently Spike Lee yelled out, we're trying to tank. He's like, I don't want that win. I thought that's the funniest.
He's trying to get Zion too.
He's trying to get Zion. Dude, if New York could get Zion over the Suns, as you can see, I'm wearing all the Suns stuff right now. I'm going to be so... There's conspiracy. There's no way. We're the worst team by far. But that's a great moment, man. That was Spike Lee, man. That's great.
Brilliant. And of course, I had to represent.
He was genuinely excited.
Yeah, no, he was great. And
his speech was dope.
His speech was amazing. Let's do the right thing. Very, very perfect way to end that off on. And I'm, like I said, I usually get very frustrated when people talk about Trump in award shows because most people don't know what they're talking about. But Spike Lee had a real perspective on it, and his movie actually involved central themes that are essential to the conversation that he's trying to have. So I think it's great, and I think he's. And of course, I'm going to sing Spike Lee's praises all day, but he also, to think that, he's the guy who also made Malcolm X. He's the guy who made, 25th Hour, all of these classic AFI 100 movies in his career. And of course, Do the Right Thing is a film school staple. Every class is going to teach that. The fact that it's now his time to get awarded. That's why it's it's why it's frustrating that he doesn't win Best Picture. And it's also frustrating that he as soon as he said it himself in the interview, every time he loses, it's to somebody who's driving. And he walked out of the room when Green Book won Best Picture, deservedly so. So it's So that's part of it too.
I think he handled that very well too. I know a lot of people have been talking about that, but the way he handled it, he's not going around being like, "Oh, Green Book sucks." He just says he jokes about it, obviously, but he was just like, you know what, they made a bad call.
Yeah.
He said that. He said it wasn't my cup of tea, which was funny.
Yeah.
But every term he's used has not been like.
Well, he's very
offensive.
he's very antagonistic, which I love him for that. I think if you've been making movies as long as Spike Lee, you deserve to like get to talk shit.
Yeah.
He even what did he say about Django? Like he spoke out against Django. He spoke out against Tyler Perry a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that he speaks his mind. A lot of people hate him for it, and that's why I think it took so long for him to win that Oscar. So now he's kind of playing the polite game a lot with people, which is like, if you got to play that game, it's a little slimy. I hate it. I hate the fact that you have to play games to win Oscars. Sure. But he did it, and he did it right. And listen, if Spike Lee was fucking Steven Spielberg, he would have had 6 Oscars by now. But because he's Spike Lee and because he's opinionated and because he's black, it just doesn't work out as well. So
but that's what makes Spike Lee great. It's the fact that he is so opinionated and so in your face, and that's what makes his movies great.
Favorite moment for you, Lois?
I'm gonna go next just so I can give you more time. Obviously, I would say Rami Malek probably gave one of my favorite speeches, but obviously everything with Cuarón. I mean, he had like 3 speeches. So I think every single one of his speeches were great. And if I had a favorite moment, it would probably be Diego Luna talking about Roma.
Yeah, that was nice. That was nice.
And the fact that they do it in Spanish, you have no idea. Like, I literally talked to my mom the night after and how much it meant to my mom. Because she's a native Spanish speaker, and that's her language, and that's what she talks to me with and everything. That's what I grew up with. And she says, they're talking Spanish. How amazing is that? Like, that's so cool. It was like my favorite moment of the night. She told me that, and I was like, man, it really is very significant. The fact that
it's incredible
that you could speak Spanish and not get like brushed off or say 2 words. Like the fact that he gave like an actual like copy. He read copy in Spanish. That was the most significant moment of the night for me, and the love that Roma was getting. So
yeah, another fun moment with Cuarón was when another one Free Solo 1, and then like everybody, and he was walking by, and then Cuarón like stood up to like I think shake one of the director's hands, but like the dude just kept walking past him. I was like, funny. Cuarón.
My other one with Cuarón was he always walked past Mahershala Ali, and since he got up like 3 times, he always was like, "What's up, Mahershala? What's up? Let's go." And then he won again, and he's like, "What's up, Mahershala? Let's go." He kept doing it, and I was like, "Are they homies or something?"
Also, when I die
Maybe
laughing.
He's a fan.
Yeah.
You know when I die laughing? When Awkwafina was on stage and she was like, "Oh, I saw Spike Lee on the red carpet," and I was like, and then like it cuts to Spike Lee, and he's like,
what? You lying?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
That was great. Cade, you have a favorite moment?
Well, it was hard to choose. I kind of wanted to go with seeing Kevin Feige in something other than a windbreaker, but and then I almost went with Rami Malek falling off the stage during a commercial break.
That was so funny.
That
was so funny.
But because I am a shallow person, I'm going to have to go with the shallow performance.
Yeah. Hey. What did you think of them coming up from their seats
that
on
was
stage?
The most perfect
You don't think
way
that was
to do
too
it.
corny or cheesy?
No, I thought it's just
I
like...
thought it had a little cheese on it.
It was a little cheesy, but like I think the simplicity of it was just something that was just really nice.
Little Parmesan.
My mom was texting me and she's like, they're totally going out.
Yeah.
She broke up with her boyfriend because of Bradley Cooper. That's what my mom.
Did Lady Gaga break up with her boyfriend?
That's a big
Is that for real?
Yeah, she
isn't Bradley Cooper married?
Right before the show. No, apparently like they're both recently single. Ironically, right before that performance.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, apparently everyone is like, that's the big rumor going around.
Yeah, they are perfect for each other.
That they're going out or whatever.
Wait, you guys want to hear my Jackson Maine impression?
Oh, go for it.
Tell me something, girl. Are you happy in this modern world?
I'm do Sam Elliott.
Okay,
go
for it.
Did you see on the red carpet though? I always see the Jimmy Kimmel Guillermo interviews because Guillermo is a troll.
He's funny.
He just trolls people.
Yeah,
dude, it's Sam Elliott. I give him props for like not just. I thought he would slap Guillermo.
No, what did he do? What did Guillermo do to him?
No. He was just talking about like, hey, you got a mustache. Who does your mustache? And Sam Elliott was like going back and like he was improvising with him. I thought that was great. I every time I see Sam Elliott, he looks like the kind of guy who's like, I'm not here for your bullshit. I don't want your comedy. I would be afraid to do like improv jokes with Sam Elliott.
He's in The Big Lebowski though.
Yeah, that's true.
One of the greatest comedies of all time.
True. Cool. Any other thoughts you want to finish up with? I mean, Regina King won.
Can
Shout
one of you give me a beat?
No.
Robert,
we're trying to spit.
We're not doing this.
I'm just doing a verse about the Oscars.
All right.
Hey. Yo, Green Book shouldn't have won. Never saw it, but it's number one. Thank you.
Good. That was good, man.
That's
shout out to Regina King.
Yeah, Regina King
and Captain America. Chris Evans helping her on stage.
Why did you, man? He always does that little shit to just like give him that extra sauce.
Bro,
you know?
He whispers some big words in her ear.
He's low key. Like, did you see that video of him? Like, it's literally called Chris Evans flirts with a black girl. Where he's like, bro, he's spitting game, bro, with like some like random model, and someone caught it like candid camera style, on their iPhone. Like it's not supposed. It's on Twitter somewhere, but it's so funny where he's just like, what's up, girl? Can I get your? I mean, can I get the number? And he's like looking at her.
Like,
no, I know, but I'm saying like he does that to a lot of girls apparently.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, like he's a huge flirt.
No one man should have all that power,
It's true.
It's true. Also, it was good to see Spider-Man Into Spider-Verse win Best Animated Feature.
That's my favorite win.
They got cut off though.
That's my favorite win. That by far is my favorite win. That to me should have been nominated for Best Picture.
I agree. I totally agree. I think that could have
way better than Green Book.
Way better than Up, in my opinion. That's just my opinion.
Up is great.
Wait, Up is great. Nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah, Up was nominated for Best Picture.
Wow.
See, why can't
they must be sipping helium to make that decision.
That's the first year. That was the first year they made it 10 nominees, though. That was the first year they made 10 nominees. So actually, the first 2 years they made it 10 nominees, both Up, and then the next year Toy Story 3 was nominated. So I think Toy Story 3 deserves that now, but I don't know about Up.
Did you guys see that video where the guy edited Toy Story 3 to end right before they're about to like fall into the furnace? So it was like his whole family watching. And they just put the credits right there, so they thought it just ended with them about to die.
Oh, that's funny. That's amazing. Toy Story 4 is about to be lit.
Hey, all right. What was your last thoughts? Anything else?
I think that's it for me, man.
Alrighty, guys.
Follow me.
We are officially done with this conversation. Thank you so much, Cade, for coming in.
Thank you guys for having me. It was a pleasure.
There you go.
Hopefully, Judd Apatow will give us another shout out.
Yeah, for the Oscars conversation. Where can we follow you, man, for any other adventures?
You can follow me to my apartment around campus. You can follow me.
We're in Burbank.
Oh, yeah. Or on Instagram at Director RB3.
wrong one. We're close.
Yeah, I mean, just my name at Cade Huseby on everything. And make sure you go check out Anthony Padilla's new videos.
Oh, yeah. We didn't even talk about
producing
that.
Those.
Yeah.
And subscribe, hit the notification bell.
Yeah, subscribe First Cut. Yeah, absolutely.
Subscribe to First Cut.
Yeah, especially if you're listening on Spotify and iTunes and Apple Podcasts or whatever. Please subscribe to First Cut YouTube channel, and also our SoundCloud link is all both in the description down below.
And Director RB3. You can
at Director RB3 for myself.
Leave us some questions, and you can follow me at Twitter and Instagram at Squad Leader Race. We appreciate you guys listening all the way through. For the Meeting Up podcast, we are officially peacing out. Peace out, guys.
Peace.